Hey friends, for the first project of 2020, here's a couple things you'll need. Toilet paper roll, you'll need scissors, you'll need a glue stick, you'll need a little bit of paint in a couple colors, some newspaper, and a black sheet of paper. That's the stuff you'll need. So right now I'm cutting some little squares out of my newspaper, and those are going to be the buildings that I later use to glue down and to make my little city scene. So I've got a couple of rectangles of different sizes, and I am going to use those and the glue stick and glue those down on my paper. You don't have to use newspaper. You could use something else, but I liked using newspaper here, so it's up to you. And I'm going to do that for a while and add a couple buildings. If you would like to add some triangles or anything on top to make your buildings a little bit more elaborate, I did that, and I think it came out pretty cute. So do that if you like. This part, obviously, is very simple. I'm just taking my glue stick, running it over my newspaper pieces, and putting them down on my page. Now, here I'm making a little billboard to put above my buildings. So I'm making this little rectangle and I'm gluing it down. And then I'm going to end up getting a crayon to draw sort of what's holding up this billboard. In just a second, I'll get those crayons. There they are. So I'm drawing some little lines to the bottom of my paper here with a white crayon. Comes out pretty nice. And then I'm going to write, I actually wrote Happy 2020 on here. That was a mistake, obviously. So if you would like to do this, I would suggest writing Happy 2021 instead. Okay, here's where we get to the fun part. I'm going to cut up a bunch of little, just little cuts up the top of my toilet paper roll. Try to make them around the same size because it'll end up coming out better. And I made a lot of different little sections of this. You don't have to make as many as I did, but I'm going and then I'm just kind of trying to flatten all of these out. And the ones that I made longer than the rest, I think they ended up being a problem. But I'm doing that, and then I'm going to get some paint on there. So I'm trying to get paint all over it, sort of just smear that paint around that I'm getting. And I do that on a scrap piece of paper. So now I am making my fireworks that I've got here, mixing in a little yellow paint. And when I start doing this, I don't love how it's coming out, so I'm going to go ahead and sort of press down all of the little different sections that I have of that toilet paper roll. And that's coming out actually a lot better. So I'm going to keep doing this and getting my sky nice and colorful. It actually ends up covering my 2020 mistake, so thank goodness for that. I think if I did this again, I would put the paint on just a regular sheet of paper as opposed to that little ring that I have there, That's just, you know, what I had available at the time. So I'm pressing down my little pieces of the toilet paper roll on the paint, and then I'm pressing them down on the paper. So we have some better looking fireworks. And I'm going to add a little bit of purple fireworks here at the end. And luckily, because I'm just sort of pressing the paint on, there's no real trouble mixing and making a bunch of brown colors. But if you do this and you use all sorts of different colors, you might end up getting some brown. So just be careful of that. But those are looking especially nice. I feel like they finish this up and make it look really good. We're gonna do just a couple more fireworks, I think. But after we finish these last final touches, I am going to set this aside to let it dry. And I'm gonna go wash my hands because they've gotten all painty from this project. Okay, this next part is pretty quick. I'm just grabbing some crayons and I'm trying to choose crayons that will show up really nicely on my paper. I'm getting those crayons and I'm drawing some lines around the center. I just want to make it more recognizable that these are supposed to be fireworks. So I'm doing that a little bit. You don't have to do this if you feel like yours are recognizable as fireworks. That is fine. I'm just throwing them in here. I think it looks good. That color I think looks especially nice, so I sort of start going with that color. I'm going around my buildings. You don't have to do this. But that's just about the end. I hope you enjoyed this project. Bye-bye, guys.